Tons of news today, but before we get started, Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to 2021. Look, it's still going to be the same as 2020 to start off with, but I mean, there's just hope. There's hope that like at the end of this year now won't be as crap as the end of the year just went by. And yeah. It was also my birthday yesterday, so I mean, just, oh God. Yay. Let's get to the news. Smell that like gunpowder thing. Whatever it is. It's obviously not gunpowder, but yeah, there's obviously like some sort of accelerant in there. And oh boy. Oh, it gets you up. Alright, let's get started. Dubois has signed a contract finally. You know, it was a bit up and down with the media in the last 24 hours. He wasn't reporting to training camp. It looks like the two parties were ages away. And then all of a sudden, a deal was just out of thin air. A few of the news items, by the way, before we get more into the contract, with teams I don't have the jerseys for. I'm missing like 7 teams now, and like 5 of them all had news today, and I was like, come on guys, like, can we just sync this stuff? Can just 7 of you teams not do anything for a bit? That would be so handy. Anyway, it's 2 years by $5 million, so $5 million for each. 2 by 10 pretty much, but yeah, 2 by 5. So yeah, really good bridge contract for both parties to get started, and great thing for Dubois, because if he gets off to the races, especially this season, he could do quite well because he's playing well, especially early on. And by the way, if you play fantasy hockey, you might want to write this, your little pen and paper, and just highlight Dubois, and then just like, yeah, just get a little highlighter and just, you know, just go over a few times, because they play the Blackhawks a lot early on, and without Taze and Kirby Doc and their goaltending situation, you know, he might be able to get a couple of points. But he looked very good last year, and I have a feeling this year's probably going to be his coming out party. I could be completely wrong in that. Greene is another player for the Wild that I'm looking at. But yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be a good year for him. And yeah, it's just curious how they go in their little division. It's pretty top heavy, that one. But I think they can slot in and get into that playoff spot. But they needed him day one, get into training camp, and not stuff around here. So it's going to be really good for them to get things going. Training camps have opened. Not a huge amount of news, just a lot of teams doing their skating. The Ottawa GM, Pierre Dorian, was on Hockey Central at noon. He was saying that the team, pretty much everyone showed up fit. I don't know whether that's just lip service or not, but he said everyone was looking good. And that was pretty much a similar thing for everyone around. It was really just a skating session, just getting everything underway. And then they can kind of build out from there. Not a huge amount of news from a lot of the pieces, except for the Islanders. Lou Lamoriello is just like that weird guy of The Simpsons that doesn't talk, Johnny Tightlips. And he's like, I'm not saying nothing. And that's pretty much him. So we finally got some information on what's going on at the moment. The Barzal contract, he is in New York right now, so it's not like the deal with Dubois. He's actually there, so hopefully that gets done soon. And he wants it to Lou wants that done before training camp starts. So there's a few days still to go. It looks like Barzal wants a long deal, but so hopefully they're not as far apart as the media suggesting. However, the media said Dubois was quite a bit away, and then like 3 hours later it was like, oh, there's a contract. And I pretty much made a whole video on Dubois, and then I couldn't post it because he signed a contract. So that was, thank you for that, media. But that's my fault for biting. That's my fault. Some contracts have been handed out by the Islanders. However, we don't know the terms of them. We just know the players. So Greene, Martin, and Corey Schneider have all got confirmed contracts. Again, we don't know what the term is. I'm assuming they're all 1-year deals. I don't know whether this was elevated by the use of taxi squads or if they're just waiting for the Barzal deal. But yeah, obviously with a few other things that are happening to Boychuk sort of situation, that does help them out overall cap-wise. So yeah, look out for those deals to come down the road. Also, Cizikas and Pelech, who nothing was confirmed after they were injured in the playoffs. They'll be fine for training camp. That's also been confirmed. The Philadelphia Flyers are moving Morin to a left-wing role from the D. He's never really sprouted as an NHL player properly. There was a lot of talk about how he was just going to be a great defender down the road, and it just never happened. So they're moving him there, crossing their fingers and hoping that they can get a few enforcer games out of him by the looks of it. But yeah, as an NHLer, I think he needs to do whatever he can to get the deal done. But yeah, it's not. He's just not an NHL player. Like, he's just not. I know it sucks to say. He's just not. So yeah. Connor Zary has just signed an ELC. He was the 24th overall pick in the draft just gone by the Calgary Flames. I thought it was a great pickup by them. Don't be too worried of the fact that he only has 2 assists in the World Junior Tournament. That's fine, he got 1 today. He's playing the second to third least minutes every single night on that Canadian team. The Canadian team's stacked, and he just is playing a much lower role, and it's not really how he's suited to as a player as well. But he's doing what he can for the country, and he's going to learn a lot from this tournament, even playing those small roles. It's going to really help him out. So that's a good little deal to get done. Probably won't crack the team this year, especially with the way the Flames is built, but down the road, really good pickup. So Vince Dunn, obviously in the St. Louis, has signed a deal, obviously a defender for the Blues. Started coming to his own last season. This is a 1-year deal. It's $1.38 million. So look to see if he can take the next step. Obviously with Pietrangelo gone, that's going to hurt them. Look to see how he ends up cracking the lineup. I think it's a good deal. It's going to be a show me year. Can you sort of play a little bit more of a role in this lineup, or is this what you are? So we'll find that out as we get in there. But I think for both parties, it's a good deal, especially for Dunn, because if he gets to play elevated minutes and shows that he can belong there, the next contract will be a lot more than this one. He probably could have eked out a little bit more money. I was kind of like, he could have got 1.8, 1.9, but this makes perfect sense to just not stuff them around. He needs to be at training camp day 1. He needs to get everything sorted, and then they can move on from there. So it's exciting for the Blues. They've obviously got Hoffman as well to help with their scoring issues because of their injuries, Tarasenko, Steen. They're a real wild card this year of what they're going to be like. Binghamton's going to be the real hope there of can he go back to what he was 2 years ago. And it's hard for goalies to go back to back. It is really hard. I think the other reason the Penguins were able to do it was because it was Murray, Fleury, and Murray Jari. Like, they had backups in place to be able to play games and take the load off. Even in the playoffs, the goalies would change around. It's hard when you're taking the whole load. So I'm hoping that this season he'll be able to rebound a bit after having a goodish offset. I mean, he played 5 games in 7 months or something? No, since March. I'm not too worried. And then the shock signing from yesterday, Zdeno Chara has there's a little bit more news that's come out from that, and it starts to fill in a few of the pieces there, because it was a jigsaw puzzle that was missing huge gaps in why he left Boston, because it just seemed like, his jersey number will probably be retired in Boston. I'd be actually surprised if it didn't, because he really was the beating heart of that team for so long. It pretty much looked like he was going to be playing a reserve role, probably going to be on the taxi squad, those sort of things, and he wanted to have one more kick at the can at being a proper defender, and didn't want to really be frustrated in those sort of roles. There's no point in playing. I think that would be his mindset, so he's off to the Capitals, obviously. It doesn't seem like there's any hard feelings there. I think I get it from both point of view. He had offers from a few other teams, so whether he was told this earlier on or it's taken a little bit to get there. Also, there's a lot of people, especially like Hockey Central, they were saying, they went up, it was disappointing that Boston wasn't up front. I know Chara wanted to take a bit of time to figure out what he wanted to do, so we don't know when the conversation even started, so it could have been a little bit on Chara in the fact that it got to this point to find out it was a reserve role. And Alexandre Alain has terminated his contract with the Montreal Canadiens, and they've agreed to do that as well. It's mutually agreed. To go pursue studies, which makes sense because he won a trophy 2 years ago for outstanding hockey player with an outstanding education or academic side to him as well. He was in national science programs and all those sort of things. So the guy's quite switched on. The best season he's had is about 28 points in the AHL for the last 2 years. It probably has dawned on him that the next step is not coming, and if it is, it's not as a full-time role. So it makes sense now, while he's still young, to be able to pursue academic side of things. Like I said, he obviously has a massive career and an opportunity there, so that's him going down that way. But there's tons. If you read Brian Burke's book, he did law at Harvard, so after playing in the AHL for a season. So just because you try to make it and it doesn't work out doesn't mean your whole thing's over. I think it's but you need to kind of make the decision at the age that he is now to be like, no, I need to start looking at a career elsewhere because it's just not going to happen in the NHL. Sucks for him, but, you know, very mature choice from him and the right choice there. Anyway, guys, that is the whole video. That's it. Oh, Derek Stepan had his kid. Stepan had his kid, by the way. So congratulations. So yeah, that is the whole video. If you did like this video, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed and you've watched it all this way, what are you doing? Like, hit the subscribe button. It really does help us out. As you can tell, I do a bit of research and do what I need to do here. Comment down below on any of the stories so we can continue the conversation past this. And just have a better 2021. I mean, the bar's so low for a year now. It's just like, I love, like, every year there was always these memes of like, oh, thank God this year's over. And it's just like, well, no, not every year is bad. It's just, you need to reflect on what you did well and what you didn't do well and set goals or themes. I like to do themes of the year. You know, I definitely have goals for next year, but I like to do themes. It's more just heading in a direction. For example, like last year for me was health. And I wanted to lose weight and do all these things, but then I broke my leg. So, but the health thing was rehab into getting to where I am now. So it was still on theme. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but I am. But yeah, it's been an interesting year to say the least. I know I'm a small little YouTube channel, but all of you who are subs that have made it this far, thank you so much for sort of sticking through these terrible, terrible videos and my terrible, terrible jokes. And you just subbing the odd comment and whatnot. And the packages that some of you have sent has been amazing. It's really helped out this year. And yeah, let's just hope for a better year. Again, the bar is so low. The bar is extremely low. Like, I think the only way a year could be worse is if, like, a nuclear war started. I think that would be, or some big war. It needed to be a big war, I think, to get us to a worse year. So just America, stop looking at Iran. Just leave them alone. They're fine. Anyway, guys, yeah, wishing you all the best and have a great day. See you and bye.